Hey everybody, it's me, Dina, your dating diva, and I know it's been more than a minute before I've done a video, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the article that I have to read for you today, and I'm going to try to do this a little bit more frequently, as I've said before, but I have been so crazy busy. So today we're going to discuss the article by markmanson.net. It's called Compatibility and Chemistry in Relationships, so let's just get right into it. He says most dating advice glosses over the concepts of compatibility and chemistry. When you have chemistry with someone, you just feel it. I mean, you know when you have chemistry with someone. When you're dating someone you're not compatible with, it's obvious. The discomfort is impossible to ignore. He says it's like biting into a rotten piece of fruit. Compatibility and chemistry are mostly ignored by dating advisors because they're things that can't be faked or changed. Compatibility and chemistry, although not the same thing, are often used by people interchangeably. They're words people use loosely to define an ephemera which exists in the space between two people, the unspeakable and unseen connection or lack thereof. But they're different, and their difference is important to understand. Their difference is very important to understand. You have to be able to understand the difference between the two. First, we're going to talk about compatibility. Compatibility is a natural alignment of lifestyle choices and values between two people. You know, like say a priest and a stripper. Not compatible, right? Obviously not compatible. Compatibility usually corresponds to the long-term potential between two people. High compatibility between people comes from similarities in their lifestyles and values. For no other reason than people of opposite moral values quite literally repel each other. So, opposites attract, not in compatibility. In chemistry, opposites could possibly attract. In compatibility, most likely not. Chemistry, on the other hand, represents the emotional connection present when you're with each other. Two people who have a high degree of chemistry have emotional makeups and personalities that bring out the warm and fuzzy emotions in each other, creating a kind of positive feedback loop through which they continue to make each other feel better and better. Get that warm and fuzzy feeling inside. When you have a high degree of chemistry with someone, they monopolize your thoughts and your free time. This is the type of feeling you get when you just want to talk to this person all the time. When you're on the phone and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, wow, I have to get up, in a couple hours and go to work. I really should get off the phone. You're like, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. That kind of crazy thing. Call it passion, call it love, call it sickness. The basic traits of their personality and your slightest behaviors ravage each other's dopamine receptors and a neurological orgy of starry-eyed dreaminess. I just love the way he put that. He gets very real in this article. There's some cursing and stuff in this article, which I'm going to try to avoid. Specific examples of what creates strong chemistry are harder to peg. Chemistry is made up of subtle behaviors and dispositions that positively correspond with the other person. It's a closed karmic loop. Chemistry is felt immediately by both parties equally. The most important rule about chemistry is that whatever you're feeling, he or she is most likely feeling it too. You almost both become empaths for one another. It could be something simple like, the way he or she laughs. I'm kind of corny, so if somebody laughs at one of my corny jokes, that's kind of makes me feel good inside. Or if when we're crossing the street, grabs my hand or, puts his hand in the small of my back, that's, that kind of gives me that warm and fuzzy feeling inside too. So it's little stuff like that. It's little things that they do that could give you that chemical reaction that could cause some nice positive chemistry. The artist Alex Gray once said, true love is when two people have pathologies that complement one another. High levels of chemistry usually come from opposite yet complementary qualities in people. This is what I was talking about. Opposites can attract when it comes to chemistry, not compatibility. A girl who is high-strung, energetic, and slightly neurotic will have a high degree of chemistry with a guy who is relaxed, mellow, and open. Introverts usually have natural chemistry with extroverts. People who are orderly and intense planners often work best with people who are spontaneous and unorganized. Unlike compatibility, a lack of chemistry doesn't repel one another. A lack of chemistry simply results in a lack of emotional intensity. Things just feel kind of dead and boring when you are together. And I've been in this relationship. And unfortunately, I've been in probably all three of these relationships. Chemistry is also reflected in the bedroom. A lack of chemistry will mean boring, emotionless sex. Who wants boring, emotionless sex? A high degree of chemistry will mean intense, life altering, heart pounding sex that causes your mind to cosmically splatter itself on the walls of your consciousness. Hello. Compatibility and chemistry don't necessarily always occur together. A relationship with high compatibility but little chemistry is likely to be a boring yet convenient series of meetings and conversations, dry and dull until both parties simply stop caring and drift apart. And I have to say that I've been in this relationship very recently where compatibility was there. We were both on the same level. The conversations were good, but there was no flame, there was no fire. I mean, I'd have to say I've been in this type of relationship the past couple times where the compatibility was there, but there was no chemistry. Compatibility and chemistry don't necessarily always occur together. A relationship, I think I already read that. Yes, I did. Sorry. Chemistry without compatibility, on the other hand, usually leads to disaster. Sometimes it can be as simple as not living in the same part of the world, but usually it's far more complicated than that. It's when it feels so right, when you know it's so wrong. It's how the good girls always love those bad boys. It's the person you know is bad for you, but you can't stop seeing him or her. Your behavior becomes completely irrational, your thoughts distort, and soon you and your fellow torture victim of choice, I love that term, initiate a perpetual cycle of mutual emotional immolation, both spiraling through love-hate cycles together at the speed of life. Yes, been there, done that. Learned from it, grown from it, will not go there again. High levels of chemistry with major incompatibilities is bad, bad news. These relationships usually begin quickly and passionately, exploding like flaming geysers, which then extinguish just as quickly as it began. Logic kicks in. Reality makes itself known. And you suddenly realize how offensive you find each other. This is where those curse words come in. It's a trap. And getting out is easier said than done. Because your heart says yes. Your heart is like, yes, I want to be in this. But your head is like, no, get the hell out. Go, leave as fast as you can. Run away. But then your heart convinces your head to say yes. And then makes your heart say no, which makes your head say, and then you're like, oh, what the hell? And then you just don't know what to do. So the experience ends up into a vicious cycle and will never let you forget that we are all, in our true nature, we are all just animals. Navigating the dating territory of life with confidence requires that you understand these concepts. You have to understand the difference between compatibility and chemistry. If you want to ultimately end up spending your time with amazing men, women, or whoever you enjoy, and I don't just mean for great sex, that should be a given. I mean somebody that you really, truly enjoy spending time with, then it's important that you get a cognitive handle on these emotional indicators. The most important aspect is understanding what you want, what makes a person compatible to you, what personality traits have chemistry with you. It's crucial, You need to know what you like and what you want in a partner. If you don't, then you need to cautiously gain enough experience until you do know. And when you do know, when you finally figure out what you want in that partner, you need to be mature enough and secure enough with yourself to communicate to that person. Because if you can't communicate it to that person, then how are they going to know what you expect? You have to be secure enough and mature enough within yourself to be able to talk to that person, because communication is always key. Communication is always primary, right? And like I said before, I've been in all of these relationships. I've been in every one of these, but the key is to always learn and grow and take something from it. And just because a relationship is over doesn't necessarily mean it's a failure. It can still be a success if you've taken something from it, if you've learned something from it, if you know that you're not going to go that way again, if you find out from that relationship what you do and what you don't want in your next relationship, then that was a success. It's not a failure. But you do need to know the difference between compatibility and chemistry, because if you confuse those two, then that could make your relationship a disaster from the get-go. So, all right, we will see you next time. If you have any comments, questions, stories, anything, advice from me, please send it to datingdiva7@yahoo.com, and we'll see you guys next time.